And welcome back to WRPB TCV, and I'm Wayne. And, you know, I love to talk about certain topics, real estate being one, of course, because I was a real estate broker. But there's a bunch of legal issues, actually, that most of us don't understand how to deal with and how to handle. And that's why we bring on professionals. With me is Trent Swift from LYTAL, Smith, IVEY, and FRONRATH.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. I just had to get all those names out so it wouldn't be too difficult. Okay, so how long are you practicing?
I have been licensed since 2011, so this would be my 10th year of practice.
Why did you pick this industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the practice of law was appealing to me because, number one, I'm horrible at math, but number two,
Okay.
It feels like there's something that you can genuinely do to help people, and I think that it's a rewarding industry to get into because you're interacting with your clients daily. For a lot of people, when they go to an attorney, it's one of the most important or stressful events of their life, and they're trusting you with that. And so it's really a fulfilling practice. It's really a rewarding experience. And as you know, LYTAL REITER, we're very involved in the community, and we genuinely like helping people.
I've been in this industry interviewing and in Palm Beach County for many, many years, and I've seen people and I've interviewed tons of people that have come through LYTAL REITER as clients, and I haven't heard anything negative, and probably one of the reasons that you guys are here. But let me ask you this. From when you started to today, have you seen a lot of changes?
In the practice of law, I've seen a bunch of changes. I think the biggest change, and really anybody in the last 10 years has seen this, is just the way technology has shrunken and changed the practice of law. The way the internet and the always on, always accessible smartphone has made what used to be a fairly inundated with paper process go paperless. When I started, you had to paper file, so you'd have to go down to the clerk, you'd have to go to the clerk's window, get the paper stamped. Now you can have a PDF, and you don't even need to physically sign it anymore.
Yeah, there's like DocuSign and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so in this point in time, we're in the middle of this pandemic, and one of the fields that you practice is business interruption insurance. Did I say it right? Yeah,
that's the typical name. Business interruption insurance. Really, any business is going to have a business policy of insurance. Some can have two. One would be a general liability and a business property. And in those, there is something that is commonly referred to as business interruption insurance.
And I'm going to take a shot here and say that most business owners, like myself, have no clue what's in our insurance policy.
Yeah, that's absolutely positively true.
Okay, so, and we're not going to, I'm just going to say my policy is 10 pages, okay, and I'm not going to take the time to read it. So when I have a problem, okay, like now when things close and whatever, and it can happen for a hurricane, it can happen for many things. How do I know what coverage I have? So can I call your office, and then what?
Yeah, Wayne, so actually it's funny you should say that. Your policy being 10 pages, those are likely just called the schedules. So that's going to be a short summary of what you have. Your actual policy is probably going to be somewhere between 60 and 160 pages.
Okay, so I read 10 of them half-heartedly. Where the rest went is beyond,
sure.
Beyond me.
And what we're doing for business owners, because South Florida, there are all sorts of events that can occur that can lead to your business being shut for a period of time. My firm is offering a free review of your policy at no cost as part of a free consultation. If there is a covered event that we can help you pursue a claim against your insurance company, we're able to take that on a contingency fee basis, which means the contingency being you recover. So if there's no recovery, you don't owe us anything. So for a lot of business owners, it's good due diligence to make sure that you have a second set of eyeballs, review your policy, make sure that if there was a denial that you received, the denial's correct. If it isn't, explain to you what kind of coverages you may have and what covered events occurred that you could trigger this coverage. And then, we're putting our money where our mouth is and taking it on contingency.
Well, I kind of cheated because we were talking before we got on the air. And you came up with something that I don't think, actually I wouldn't think of. And if I'm not going to think of it, I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there that wouldn't think of it. Okay, so there's something happens, and I have interruption in my business. But it's not because of anything I did. It's because I can't get the product that I sell because something happened somewhere else and they're closed. Is that something that interruption insurance covers or can cover?
So the answer in a literal sense is yes. That's something that a lot of policies of insurance will have coverage for. However, a lot of times businesses in this situation where I'm dependent on some other business and I need their products to be able to stay open or have something to sell, when they review their policy and somebody says, well, you were never actually part, or you didn't have something that was part of a covered event, from your business income coverage, which is the business interruption coverage, they might be told there's nothing they can do. However, a lot of businesses have another policy that's issued in this big stack of documents that's called dependent property, and that's the kind of coverage you would trigger. So it's very important that when you have a review done, not only are you reviewing the policy for the plain language, but also the specifics of the event that led to the downturn in your business, the interruption in your business, because there are a bunch of different ways you can go at this and find coverage that may apply to your business and put money back into your business that you need.
It's interesting because I think of it when someone talks about business interruption insurance, and that's what I'm going to call it because it's simple for me. Hey, we live in Florida. Hurricane would shut us down. Maybe a fire. Okay. I don't think of all the indirect things that could possibly happen. I don't sell a product, so that's really not per se an issue. And I should think of that because when we used to stream live, the streaming service was out of California. So if they went down and people were paying to stream live, I probably had interruption insurance for something like that. I think. 60 pages, so I wasn't reading it. You say you're not good at math, and the reading thing was not my thing. So I am not sure what's going on. I have some interruption in my business. I then hand you over a stack of 60 pages and you review it.
Yeah, exactly. The way it generally works is, somebody either has a need or is given my phone number, my firm's phone number. They give us a call. We talk about what happened. They send over the policy. That's a policy that we'll review for free. After we review the policy and talk about the different events that led to this interruption, if it's something that has a covered event in your policy, we can take that on a contingency basis. If it's not, certainly I enjoyed the time and getting to know another business owner in the community, but it's still no cost to them even if we can't help. So it's certainly something that I think any diligent business owner should do, especially if there is a significant downturn in income and something that has meaningfully impacted their business's ability to function.
Chad, let me ask you a question. So, for the new people out there that are opening businesses, okay, we're in a society of destination, not journey. So when you get an insurance pack, we know that you don't read it. Okay, most people don't read anything anymore.
Yeah.
Is it important to read all those pages for the layman?
Well, the answer is yes. It's important to read them as a layperson. The problem is they're designed to be confusing. So even if you were given something and you're told, hey, guess what? This policy has everything you need, soup to nuts. You're going to have every coverage under the sun. As soon as you get in there and start reading it, you're going to realize that there are a lot of exclusions. So the issue isn't whether or not there's coverage in most cases. The issue is whether there's actually an exclusion. And so what you'll see in the state of Florida is policies that are written are mindful of risks that could develop in our area, such as mold, fungus, other spores that can cause harm as part of just the natural tropical climate we live in. So businesses are given a policy, and the policy is going to have all the coverage they want. The problem is that policy is also going to have a lot of exclusions they didn't know about, they didn't bargain for, and frankly, you're surprised to learn about when a need arises and somebody actually goes through the policy and says, guess what? Good news is you have coverage. Bad news is there's an exclusion.
And, the interesting thing is, I come from Jersey, and let's just get off track with real estate. You have to have an attorney do your real estate transaction. I think that you need a professional. This is something, coming off of the business interruption insurance, if you're going to open a business and you are concerned about these issues, I think that they should contact an attorney just to go over it, because we know the insurance company's job is not to pay. Okay, that's why they make so much money. Okay, so do you have clients that come to you? Hey, I'm opening a warehouse and blah blah blah, and I'm getting insurance. Is there anything special I need? And can I send you the policy to review it? Because you did their and I'm just arbitrarily picking out, you did their LLC, or you did their lease, or you did any of their other stuff, do people ask you to go over their policies?
I can tell you, in my experience, a lot of business owners, when they're starting a business, that's one of the first areas they try to cut costs. They know that they need certain compliance documents. Certainly, in this age of internet availability, it's easier now than ever before to have things filed through the state that you can do yourself. So a lot of people try to do it without an attorney. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that anytime you're starting something, especially starting something that's going to have your hard-earned money, it's going to have something that you're going to seek as either a dream or the ultimate outcome of your goals, you should have experienced eyes look over it. People usually go to an accountant to have their taxes prepared.
Right.
They should absolutely go to an attorney to have their insurance policies reviewed.
And I always say, I could change my own oil. It will take me 2 hours to change my own oil. Or I could take it in, and for $49, they'll do it for me, and it'll take them 20 minutes. So for me, those 2 hours have more value than the $49. I can spend it with my family. How long does it take to read 60 pages for us regular people? And the question becomes, after we read the 60 pages, do we understand them? And that becomes an issue, I would think.
That's the biggest issue. As we talked about, there are a lot of times where you'll read through a policy and you'll see coverage, and so you'll think, well, geez Louise, I have everything I need, but you don't look at the exclusion. Or sometimes there are coverages that conflict with the exclusion. So all sorts of different things can go into the specific policy of insurance that was written for your business that is confusing and frankly is intentionally confusing. It's meant to confuse you as the lay person, and it's another reason why, just like you said, you can change your own oil, but maybe you shouldn't.
Right.
You can read your own policy of insurance, but having somebody else look at it, make sure that, number one, what you read and were told and frankly were sold matches up with what's actually is in there is a good way to spend your time and probably a good way to protect your business.
Okay, we're getting to the top of the time. LYTAL has been around a long time, and you're dealing with business interruption insurance, but they deal with many other things too. So you want to just give me a quick rundown of other stuff that LYTAL deals with?
Sure. Anybody that has grown up in South Florida has certainly seen our firm either on TV or their billboards and know about the presence and excellent work we do in the community. We specialize in the areas of personal injury, wrongful death, and medical malpractice. Our partners have, I think, over 85 years of combined experience. Our firm has stopped totaling the total amount recovered when it exceeded, I believe it was $2 billion, and that was about a decade ago. So the work that we do in the community on behalf of our clients certainly speaks for itself. I can tell you that you can find any of the independent peer review process, so that's attorneys reviewing other attorneys. We're recognized as one of the best law firms in America by U.S. News & World Report. We have, I believe it's 10 super lawyers rated by Thomson Reuters. We have multiple AV rated lawyers from Martindale Hubbell. So the peer review speaks for themselves, and you can see through the reputation that we have in the community from other former clients that the job we do for them is second to none.
I'll tell you, my opinion is that's all good and well, but what they do for the community as a give back is what stands out in my eyes, because we do more than we can afford to do. You know, we work with a charity that gives cars to single moms. Mm-hmm. We work with a charity that does food giveaways. And the logistics of some of the stuff is very difficult. We're about to do, or try to do, 45,000 pounds of a food giveaway up on the Treasure Coast here. So you guys are such a blessing to the community over and above everything else that you do for each individual, each business that you work with. And I want you guys to know, and you guys know me for 25 years, how important it is to give back. And I relate my success because of the give backs I do to the community and to the people. So for that, I want to thank you guys.
Well, thank you.
With that, is there a way, you have a website?
Sure. Our website is www.foryourrights.com, and that's all spelled out, so it's FORYOURRIGHTS.com.
And you have a phone number at the office? Or
sure, we do. Our office phone number is area code 561-655-1990. And of course, if you have any questions about business interruption and you want to reach me directly, my direct line is area code 561-820-2218.
Everybody, take the time to go to the professional so that on the other end, you don't feel taken advantage of and you don't come out on the short end of the stick. With that, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Wayne.
Everybody have a great day. We'll be right back.